containers in a park in Shiraz. At the risk of offending them, and I don't wish to my mind, they're photo fit Basiji people, in the sense that there was an unquestioning allegiance to Rahbar. What Rahbar said goes. When their local commander said, Rahbar wants Ahmadinejad to win, you must do everything you want, help the old women. If they can't write, put in the name of Ahmadinejad. It doesn't matter who they want to vote for. Just do that. This kind of completely unquestioning sense. But they were perpetrators of violence. They were on the other side. I don't know, it's never been totally clear to what degree they took part in that violence. But what struck me about them is there was no distinction of target. Men, women, old, young. And I guess at the end of, when you listen to, those interviews are still on the Channel 4 website, and they're easy, Channel 4, you Google it, Channel 4 Basiji. What struck me is it really, when they've seen that their whole world has been ripped from them, he started to cry. I mean, it says on the piece, this is the voice of an actor, and, but clearly he's reaching for, the interviewer gives him more Kleenex, and the voices slow down and so on. And this brings me to what does it mean for them? What does it mean for them as perpetrators and victims of violence, even if kind of secondhand in the case of, secondhand in the sense it wasn't him, for Arash Hijazi. And bear in mind, I take this with having gone to Turkey and interviewed a large number of people, many of them human rights defenders, a slightly different category. Those people are wanting rights. They come on and speak about rights. And I guess the thing that it's a little bit depressing, when you work at Amnesty about some of these things, is there was not much of a sense of injustice. There is now an acceptance of the banality of violence, by and large. And that's what it seemed, these are kind of the things that it meant to them. What is really striking about all of them, in a way, even those that are well off, is the sense of isolation. I found it striking how isolated each one of them was, and that's a characteristic that's peculiar to state violence. That it's an intentional isolation. This happened to you. No, it didn't happen. You're wrong. It didn't happen. That never happened. And just the other day, there was one of these police leaders said, "Oh, you joy bozdoshi benomi karizak nadari." The complete sort of, we don't have this thing. It's astonishing. A kind of reinvention of the past, which is unbelievable. Their dignity was broken, their senses of honor, and I found this with the Basij guy as well. When you look at the videos, and I keep coming back to this. I'm not a psychologist, and I don't know what it means, but going on videos is sort of kind of a new thing. Maybe it's a thing that we're all familiar with, but what does it mean for a society that's actually quite, as small c conservative, quite a private society? And the one thing that struck me with Mariam, with the Basijis, with the two Ibrahims, Sharifi and Mehtari now, is now, okay, it's a year later plus, is a sense of wanting to rebuild. And that brings us to this international coalition that Ruhi's trying to build. I mean, we've got the easy side of things. Amnesty's on the outside. They don't let us in. We try to have dialogue, and they won't speak to us. They don't reply to our letters at all, ones that we send here. So we do maybe the kind of international outside bit. We raise with special rapporteurs and human rights bodies, and we publish and press to the extent that we're able with our friends and share information with others, and that's the easy bit. And I guess the thing that I'd like to explore with you who are Iranian with the difficult question of legitimacy, is what do you do on the inside? What are you doing now? And the ones that I found who are trying to regain and reclaim that honor, that dignity, are groups like the Mourning Mothers, who are getting together. They're kind of breaking the silence, breaking isolation. They're informal groups, they're healing groups, they're talking groups. They're trying to end the shame and reclaim honor. They're daring to quietly reject violence. They're rejecting all violence. And I sense that they're building structures to ensure that that doesn't happen. And this is my final point on this, is maybe the more, the contentious one for us. And in this sense, I'm being informed on my comments by the campaign for equality. And those sort of the women that we've been speaking to, they say, well, look, what is the point of having all these signatures with a demand for change of law when this regime has got no legitimacy? What's the point? We want to change laws, but ask them? I mean, they don't represent us. Well, Amnesty International is a political group. We don't take a stand on governments per se. We can't. It would kind of end what we're able to do. We have to accept the hand that is dealt, be it the Sultan of Brunei or the Cameron government or the Harper government or so on. And, I guess the one thing that I'd like to see more of personally in Iran are people using the existing mechanisms. They all say, and I'm sure you will all agree, that it's a waste of time. The Article 90 Commission in Parliament is namayeshi. It really is now. It's I hate to say it, but it is. There's now a so-called human rights body in Parliament, in Majlis. The authorities took a woman to Geneva when Iran submitted some human rights reports and said, here's our representative of the Human Rights Committee. And I approached her, I tried to speak to her. I said, I work in human rights, let's speak. No, completely cut. Now, on the other hand, Supreme Court judges, they're willing to speak, they want to speak, they're ready to speak. But not the people around Mohammad Javad Larijani, they prevent us. So I guess I'd like, maybe as we go on, the conversation that I'd like to explore with some of you is what can be done to build on the work of the Mourning Mothers, the work of those that are breaking the silence, rebuilding dignity, rebuilding honor on the inside quietly so they don't bloody well get arrested. To ask their local parliamentarian for their rights, to ask for respect. And of course, the first thing that people say when they call us is, why would I go to my parliamentarian in Sanandaj? He's useless. He doesn't represent me. He doesn't. It's true. But we need to seek redress. And, at the risk of being hounded out of this room by saying, you're living either in cloud cuckoo land or it's impossible, I'm afraid this is the hand that we've been dealt. This is the parliament we have. These are the people we've got to get our rights back. I'm not Iranian, but, Iranians need to. They have got, we've seen it before, and they have a short shelf life. When Akbar Alami, former MP for Tabriz, was elected, his salahiyat was accepted and so on, and in a difficult time, and he got through, and amazing that he did. But, quietly those Azerbaijanis got to him and said, Turk dilinde madrase, we want our own language in our schools and so on. And eventually, slowly, he did actually speak for language rights in Parliament. Now, he was disqualified. He was disqualified in the last parliamentary round, and that will happen. But the more that we're able to plant the idea, a bit. So, thank you.